Have you ever noticed something painful? The people who say they need you the most are often the first to disappear when you stop giving. Not because they suddenly changed, but because for a long time what they valued was never really you. It was your patience, your listening, your forgiveness, your calm voice when they were falling apart, your ability to stay soft even when nobody asked how tired you were. And because you gave it naturally, because kindness felt normal to you, you did not see the danger. You thought trust was growing. You thought closeness was becoming real. You thought love was slowly being built. But sometimes what grows is not love. It is dependency. And dependency can look warm while quietly draining you. That is why many kind people wake up late. Because being needed can feel very similar to being loved. Someone calls you every night. Someone says, "I only talk like this with you." Someone tells you, "You understand me better than anyone." And slowly, you begin believing you matter deeply to them. But here is what many people never ask soon enough. If your kindness disappeared tomorrow, would the relationship still feel the same? Because that answer reveals everything. A person can miss your presence and still never value your pain. A person can call you important while unconsciously building comfort on top of your exhaustion. This happens quietly. No one announces it. No one says, "I am using your emotional energy." Instead, it hides inside habits, inside repeated expectations, inside the assumption that you will always understand, always forgive, always remain available. And little by little, you become less like a person and more like a place they visit when life becomes heavy. That is why some people feel deeply loved until the first day they stop giving, because that is the day the emotional mirror breaks. Suddenly, reactions change, tone changes, warmth becomes thinner, and the sentence appears, "You've changed." Not because you became cruel, not because you stopped caring, but because for the first time, your energy had limits. And limits expose truths that endless kindness keeps hidden. Imagine a woman who has spent years being emotionally reliable for everyone around her. She remembers what others forget. She notices what others ignore. She carries moods that were never hers to carry. If someone enters the room upset, she feels it. If tension rises, she becomes softer. If someone withdraws, she reaches first. And because she has done this for years, people around her stop noticing that effort is happening at all. To them, it becomes her nature. But what others call your nature is often your invisible labor. And invisible labor becomes dangerous because people enjoy its results without recognizing its cost. One day she becomes tired, not dramatic, not broken, just emotionally full. So she says less, replies later, stops solving things immediately, and suddenly people around her feel uncomfortable. Because when the person who usually carries emotional weight finally puts it down, everyone else must face what they were leaving behind. That discomfort often sounds like blame. Why are you distant? Why are you acting cold? Why are you different lately? And this is where awakening begins. Because many kind people expect concern but receive irritation instead. That moment hurts more than open rejection. Because it reveals that your exhaustion was less visible than your usefulness. And that truth reaches even deeper inside close relationships. Some people spend years in love believing sacrifice is proof. They think, if I stay patient enough, if I understand enough, if I absorb enough pain, the relationship will eventually become balanced. But balance never appears automatically. If one person keeps adjusting while the other keeps receiving, imbalance becomes normal. And once imbalance becomes normal, effort starts looking invisible. This is why some people wake up one day and realize they have been present everywhere, except inside their own life. They kept peace, but lost themselves. They stayed loyal, but became emotionally unknown. They were always there for others, yet nobody learned how to be there for them. And what hurts most is that this pattern often begins long before adulthood. Many people who overgive did not learn it in relationships. They learned it in childhood, in homes where tension was unpredictable, where love became easier when they stayed quiet, where being understanding was safer than being honest. So they grew up believing that love must be maintained through emotional control. Do not upset anyone. Do not ask too much. Do not become difficult. And that child becomes an adult who keeps abandoning personal truth to protect connection. But real connection does not require self-erasure. If someone feels safe only when you suppress yourself, that is not emotional intimacy. That is emotional convenience. And convenience often survives only while your needs stay small. That is why boundaries feel so powerful, because boundaries interrupt false comfort. The first time you say, "I cannot do this today. I need space," I am tired too. You are no longer performing the old role. And suddenly people reveal who they really are. Some step closer. They listen. They ask questions. They adjust. Others become defensive, cold, offended, not because your boundary was harsh, but because your availability had become part of their comfort. And now that comfort has changed. That reaction tells you what words often hide. Because real love does not panic when you become human. Real love does not shrink because you finally stop pretending you can carry everything. It becomes gentler, more aware, more present. Use behaves differently. Use complains when access changes. Use notices effort only when effort stops. Use often sounds warm while you are giving and distant when you begin protecting yourself. That is why one simple test can reveal more than years of words. Stop over-explaining. Stop fixing immediately. Stop reaching first every time. Then, watch. Who still comes closer without needing something first? Who notices silence without turning it into accusation? Who asks, "Are you okay?" and who only returns when they need your emotional strength again? That answer may hurt. But pain with truth is cleaner than comfort with illusion. Because illusion keeps people trapped inside relationships they keep calling deep simply because they invested so much. But investment is not proof. Exhaustion is not proof. Staying longer than necessary is not proof. Love is proven differently. It appears when your value is no longer convenient. It appears when your energy is low, when your answers are short, when your strength is not available. That is when people show whether they were attached to your heart or attached to what your heart provided. And here is the truth many people resist because it sounds hard. The world does not automatically respect goodness. It respects boundaries around goodness. Without boundaries, even kindness can become background noise. If you always forgive, forgiveness loses weight. If you always stay, your presence loses impact. If you always understand, many stop learning accountability. That is why protecting your limits is not becoming cold. It is teaching others that your inner life exists too. And perhaps the strongest awakening comes when you finally understand you do not owe endless access to everyone who once needed you. Not everyone who leaned on you earned closeness. Not everyone who shared pain with you learned how to care for yours. And not everyone who said "I need you" ever truly meant "I value you." Sometimes they only meant, "You make my life easier." That is painful. But clarity always hurts before it frees. Because once you truly see it, you stop begging to be understood by people who never studied your silence. You stop explaining boundaries to those who benefited from your lack of them. You stop calling emotional depletion proof of love, and you begin asking a better question. Not who needs me, but who remains gentle when I have nothing left to give. Because love becomes clearest when usefulness disappears. And if someone only knew how to stay near you while you were carrying them, then maybe what you called love was only dependence wearing soft language. Maybe what looked deep was simply comfort. And maybe the sentence that hurts the most is also the sentence that finally wakes you up. You were not loved. You were used. And once you understand that, something changes forever. You no longer chase every connection. You no longer feel guilty for becoming harder to access. You no longer confuse being needed with being valued. Because real love does not measure your worth by how much pain you can absorb. Real love notices when you are tired before you have to explain it. And the people who truly deserve your heart will never wait until you break to realize you were carrying too much.